A little bit of maintenance. We've had some questions come in about the HGT setup, so we're going to check out our HGT setup as we drop the gearbox back in. And we've got the gearbox right here in the box. Small gearbox, billet case. Handles 1,000 horsepower plus. I run the Sequential 5-speed, but they're available in 6 speeds and 4 speeds. So we're going to show the mounting, show the installation, check it out right now. So we've got our HGT sequential box here. You see it's a billet case with a cast bell housing. One of the reasons I really like the HGT boxes is they are a traditional case shape. So installation wise, the fitment is very easy, and they do have a lot of bell housing options and input shaft options depending on what spline you want, clutch configuration you want. So for ease of operation in building race cars, drift cars, street cars, hot rods, I've found HGT to be a great company to work with. This is actually one of their older cases. I think I've seen some of their new boxes come in. We're a distributor, KMR. Hit us up if you're looking for one. Have come in with even a nicer finish, but one of the reasons I do like their boxes is they're able to handle a lot of horsepower. And I think part of that is the fact that they are a billet case. And if you're really interested, they can also do billet bell housings, but I opted for the cast. So we're going to go ahead and get to the installation of this box, getting it into the MX5. I will note that we are solid mounted in this race car. HGT does not necessarily recommend that, and personally, I'd probably say if you're building your own setup, it is nice to have a little bit of dampening, but I've always been a fan of just solid mounting the motor, gearbox, and diff in my rotary powered drift car. So we're running 1,000 horsepower through this thing solid mounted for multiple seasons. But like I said, I think HGT does recommend having a little bit of cushioning in there. So we might be going against what they recommend. That's just us. In the car, you can see we're actually running a very simple mount. It's just a cross bar, cross beam, and we've reinforced our chassis frame rail. This is done the same on both the MX5 and the RX-8 because both of these cars were originally power plant frame cars, or if you're not familiar with what a power plant frame is, it's similar to the idea of a torque tube. So there's actually no transmission mounts or diff mounts in most of the MX5s, Mazda RX-7s, Mazda RX-8s, just depending on generation. This was one of those cars, and the RX-8 is one as well. So the reinforcement to the frame rails, welded in plates on both sides, and then a very simple cross brace that we bolt through those reinforced frame rails has served us well over the years. We have done fancier things for customers, but in Formula Drift, we always look at ease of operation. Can we fix something in 5 minutes? What's the simplest way to get this gearbox in and out, and the simplest mount possible? And this is what we came up with. So in this particular car, the MX5, I've still got one of the carbon XD setups. In the RX-8, I've switched over to the triple disc metallic. I actually like both setups. I don't really have a preference. I think I could run either, and it really doesn't affect my driving style or my happiness. But I do feel like the newer metallic multi-plates like I'm running in the RX-8, man, they hook up amazingly well, and we're getting a season plus out of them, as where the carbons had a little more wear just because they are carbon plates. So I had a little bit more maintenance in just checking those setups out over the years. But have always been happy with XD, and have really never had one of their products have an issue in competition or in street. So for the past, I think it's about 16 years, we've been running different combinations of XD products. And back to the point, in this particular MX5, it's actually a lightweight flywheel triple disc carbon setup, and I happened to write on it that it was good, just so it didn't get lost in the shop because it's already been spec'd out. So on the bottom of the motor, we've got a billet dry sump plate, and then the suspension itself is a WiseFab setup that's based off the RX-8. If you want to know more about that, feel free to comment below and ask, because today we're doing transmission. So we're going to get back to the transmission setup and getting this in here so you can see how it mounts up. And then here is our reverse cable, and here's actually our shifter linkage hanging down. It's a very simple setup. Another cool thing about HGT setups is they make their own throwout bearings. I had a lot of issues with throwout bearings prior to HGT. I think a lot of it had to do with the high RPM that rotaries turn, and I'm happy to say that HGT throwout bearings have never let me down. I've never had an issue. I just make sure they're working good, and I've replaced it once, probably at the end of this year, maybe put a new one in there, but it honestly feels great. And then I do run a dry brake connection for the clutch, so anytime it's out or the gearbox is out, same thing, formula drift 5-minute calls, although it's never been an issue. But we've got that dry brake, so we're able to keep our hydraulic pressure. All right, and just like that, we've got the HGT in and up against the back of our 20B. We did it just 2 people power, me and my friend Smokey here. Plug your shop.
DLW Motorsports.
There you go.
All social media, DLW Motorsports.
DLW Motorsports helps me out on the team all the time. So now that we've got the bell housing bolted up, we made sure that our braided stainless lines cleared over to the left where they hook up, and we're going to get our breather line down, and then we can put our cross brace cross mount in, and then we'll basically be in, other than connecting linkage and drive shaft. There's one. So it's not tightened up yet, but you can see that easily slips in between the frame rails, and then we knock those bolts through. A little tappity tap sometimes. And then the back of the transmission is just going to sit here on that solid mount. Almost there. With the mount in, both front solid mount points and then this back solid mount point, you can see it's a very precise fit. With the transmission mounted up, last couple things, we're going to slide the drive shaft U-joint forward so we can connect it to the back of the gearbox. It's a really nice setup that HGT offers, both the output drive and yoke setup, so you've got a little nice slide yoke. Makes installation and operation that much easier. And then we're just going to hook up our shifter linkage. We've got our breather line to connect across the bottom. That's about a wrap. That's about a wrap. Billet dry sump plate, billet gearbox. Definitely recommend the HGT. Like I said, if anybody wants to know more, hit KMR up. We are a distributor. I've got a few. Really like them in my race cars. And we've got a dirty quick change here in the back, also solid mounted. Any questions, comment below. We're gonna, what are we gonna do?
Brap on out of here.
Brap on out of here. That's right. Brap.